As a small business owner, you're going to make mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. It's just part of the process. Over the past 4.5 years since I've started my business, I've made several of those mistakes and I've learned from them the hard way. In this episode, I'm going to share my biggest screw up or my biggest mistake and the lessons that I took away from it. So, hopefully, this is something that you can avoid when running your small business. Hey everyone, Riley here with Small Business Unfiltered. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. So happy to see you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you get notified every time I publish a new video, which is every Wednesday and every Sunday, where I talk all things small business. If you're a returning viewer, happy to see you again. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode where I share one of my biggest mistakes that I've made as a business owner over the past 4.5 years. All right. So this is hard to admit. Talking about failures is never something that a business owner really wants to talk about, right? Everybody wants to share how much they make and all the success they've had. But in reality, there's a lot of screw ups that happen, especially when you don't really have a business background like myself. I started the business when I saw a need for people needing help with their social media pages, getting their business pages launched, or creating some content for them. And frankly, I had zero business background, but I saw the opportunity and I ran with it. And I've learned a lot over the past 4.5 years. So, yeah, it's great being a business owner, lots of success, blah, blah, blah. That's what you hear from everybody, just talking about all the great things. But wanted to talk today about one of my biggest failures because hopefully it can be something that you learn from, or what I learned from it could apply to you and your business, so you can take something away from that. So let's go ahead and talk about what I consider my biggest failure. I don't know, Kaylee, my business partner, might have a different view on what the biggest failure of the business has been, but from my standpoint, it's a few months after Kaylee and I joined combined businesses. So about a year and a half ago when this happened, we worked with this client. To give you some background, we're a digital marketing agency, Harden Digital. You can visit our website, hardendigital.com. We do everything from social media management, graphic design, website development. So we had this individual reach out. He was starting a business. He first initially reached out because he wanted a logo for his new business, which is something that Kaylee would handle. Um, to give you some backstory on that, he had hired somebody on Fiverr or a similar network to create him a logo before, and he wasn't happy, which no surprise from me that you paid somebody $50 for a logo and you didn't like it. So he reached out and said, "Hey, don't like it. I like the concept or some of the colors, but I don't like the overall design. I'm looking for something a little more professional. Can you help us out?" Said, "Sure." Kaylee helped him out, created him an awesome design. He loved it. All these different variations, the whole branding packet that Kaylee does, which is sweet. And, he was super happy. During that time when Kaylee was creating her logo or his logos, excuse me, he also reached out because he was wanting a website. Sweet. Awesome. Love when clients turn into more clients. I guess that's not the right way to say it, but he started out with just the logo and he moved on to wanting a website, which is awesome on our end. We're making more money off of the client, all of this great success. When looking back at it, the issue that we had is surrounds the website and building the website for him. From the very beginning, should have, the whole getting a logo on Fiverr, not liking it, having somebody else do it for him, should have maybe triggered some red flags in my mind. This person's indecisive, or they have this idea, but they aren't communicating it well. And so no matter who designs it for him, he's just not going to be happy unless he does it himself. But we were still somewhat newish, and this person wanted a new website. Websites are big money makers for us, and so we were like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's build you a website. So we go through the process. We start, designing the website, building it out. Everything's going well. Websites usually take us 6 to 8 weeks to complete. Just not that it necessarily takes me that long to build, but it does take a little bit of time just when spacing out other projects and other clients that I'm working on. So we get fast forward, we get to the very end. I sent the individual a preview of the website the night before. We're going to jump on a meeting the next morning and go over the website. First impressions, what do you want to change, blah blah blah. Jump on that meeting. Granted, now we've been communicating with this guy for 6 weeks or so, probably more, with the logo factoring in there. Jump on the call with him. Immediately says he's not happy and he wants a refund. Just like completely out of the blue. Not even, hey, let's look at this. What are your thoughts? He got on and said, I'm really unhappy. This is not what I was wanting. I demand a full refund. And I was like completely in shock. Like I had no potential or no warning that this was coming. Like it just came out of nowhere. Um and like I'm just reflecting on it now. It's like I really sat there and probably just looked dumbfounded to this guy because it completely came out of nowhere. I sat there looking like an idiot, and I was just like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I just really don't like this. It's not what I was going for at all." Blah blah blah. And to give you some background, we design websites using WordPress themes so that we can give them kind of a preview based on the theme of, hey, this is the general look, general feel of what the website's going to look like. He agreed to it. We sent a couple different options. He picked his favorite option before we even started building out the website. He agreed. He picked his favorite one. So then, we went through the full build, got all the information, did all this extra stuff for him. And then just he dropped this bomb on us. When this kind of thing happens and it's, we're on a Zoom call, I can't just like push off the email or kind of gather my thoughts and then respond to an email. It's instant. Like you just have to go with what your gut feeling is. I was kind of stuck in a very bad situation there. As a small business owner, he paid his down payment. Great. We require 50% payment up front. He paid that. But being a small business owner with not, we don't have a ton of extra cash necessarily. And we had already, frankly, it had been 6 weeks. We spent that money, paid out in payroll, covered expenses, whatever it may be. We didn't necessarily just have that down payment sitting in our bank account anymore. So all of this is running through my head within like 30 seconds of him saying this. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm sorry you're unhappy. What can we do to resolve this? Like, do we want to try a different theme? Do we want to start over? Blah, blah, blah. I was just trying to mitigate the situation as best as I could. Nothing was budging. He was just dead set. I don't like it. You've wasted my time, blah, blah, blah. I was like, holy cow. Like, I was starting to get more upset. It's hard to handle your emotions in that type of situation. And so the conversation didn't really progress from there. I was just like, okay, well, I my first thought was, okay, I don't want to make this person, obviously he's upset for whatever reason, but I don't want to flat out tell him no, that I'm not going to refund it. But I kind of was like, you know, I think we can do that. Let's give it some time to think it over. I'll shoot you an email and then we'll proceed from there. Kind of just like diffusing the situation as much as I could at the time. So, like, I was still kind of just really worked up and in shock. And so we ended the meeting, talked to Kaylee about it, ended up, long story short, we did give him a refund, but there's a couple different things to consider here is that we just built out this full website, which he technically had access to. Same with domain name, everything. We spent our time on it, and it's like he wanted to me, it's red flags are going off. No communication about any of this, and then he just drops this bomb. To me, I was like, okay, what's going on? Um, did he start this business and he's realizing how much money it is, and he's kind of having second guesses on him? Like, I don't know. Or is he kind of like trying to scam us in a way where he has that website, whether it's not technically published or live yet, he still has the build. And is he just going to use that and get his refund and then go finish it on his own? So, a couple of red flags there. So I sent up an email or wrote up an email to him, kind of explained the options. I was either going to give him a full refund, which is what he requested, but the stipulation there is that if I gave him a full refund, I was taking down, removing the theme, removing all the plugins, just pretty much deleting the website from existence. Like I said, it wasn't published yet, but all of the work was there where we just had to flip the switch and hit publish. So I said, hey, understand you're not happy. Here are your three options or two. Um, I'll give you the full refund, but I'm taking the website down. Second option is, the website's 90% done minus any changes to content or fixes we need or anything like that, making sure all the links work. It's 90% done. If you want it where it's at, I'll give it to you, finish it, keep your down payment, but you can have where it's at. How he vaguely knew how to work with WordPress, but he just didn't have the time or didn't want to do it. So here's a 90% done website. You're getting it for 50% off essentially because we're not going to charge. You paid your down payment. We'll keep that. Split ways. Everybody's happy ish, and we'll move on. He got back to me and he said, nope, I'm demanding my full refund. Not happy. I don't want it. So we gave him his full refund. It was not great. From our standpoint, it was a financial burden to us. Like I said, we had spent the money, but we made it work. It's not like we didn't have any extra money in the bank account or anything like that. It's just when you're running a small business, you know, we pay out any extra money that we have, trying to pay myself, Kaylee, Hannah, our account manager. So we didn't always just keep extra cash in the bank account. So maybe that was one lesson learned. I think I really have three big lessons here. First one, keep some extra money in the bank account. It is what it is. The biggest lesson, though, that came from that is that no matter what type of relationship, what type of communication that we've had, and this is the big one here, is that before starting any projects, we are very service based. So we do a bunch of projects or month to month social media management. Before we start anything, you need to require a contract. Bottom line, no matter what, no matter if it's your best friend, a family member. In this case, we had already done some logo work for him, thought, hey, he paid the down payment on the logo, paid the final payment on the logo, was happy with the logo. So we thought smooth sailing, website's going to be fine. Obviously, it wasn't. Didn't have him sign a contract. That's the biggest mistake in my mind. Um, so there, we had no like legal, quote unquote, legal reasoning to say, sorry, we're not going to give you a refund because it's stated in the contract. This down payment is not refundable, non-negotiable. You're paying us for this. If you get cold feet in the middle of it, we've already put 6 weeks into it. Sorry about your luck. So that was the biggest lesson on my part is no matter how trustworthy you think somebody is, how good you feel about the relationship that you have with a potential client that, oh, they would never screw me over, or sometimes it doesn't even like process in your mind the potential of somebody screwing you over and asking for a refund for whatever reason. I honestly think there was some shady stuff happening, whether he got cold feet or he, I, I don't know, wanted the website for free essentially. Whatever the thing is, it just didn't feel right to me. But I couldn't technically say no. Well, I could, but I didn't want to piss off a customer, and one bad review on Facebook or Google can be detrimental to a small business. So I was trying to mitigate the situation as best we could. So we thought giving him the refund was the best. So contracts for everything, no matter if it's your best friend, no matter if it's a family member or somebody that you've done work with in the past, make sure you have them sign a contract. We did contracts before that, but it was just we didn't always do them for logos. And then he started out with a logo and transitioned onto a website. So kind of just didn't cross our minds. And that's on me. I'll take the blame for that. But now all of our contracts say non-refundable for the down payments, because I don't want to get 6 weeks into a project and then they demand a refund. Well, I just spent all that time. I'm not going to give you your money back. Sorry about that, but that's just how it works. You can't just get free work and then say, sorry, I want a refund. So now all of our contracts clearly state right underneath how much it's going to be and how much the down payment is. It says the down payment is non refundable no matter what. There's some other technical legalese words in there, but that's the gist of it. The third and final kind of lesson that I learned is that open communication is always important when working with a client. Reflecting back, it'd been probably 2 weeks or so since I had made contact with him via email about the status of the website. Could I have been more communicative with him? Probably. So that I didn't get blindsided out of nowhere. I don't know if that really would have solved or fixed any issues, but I know I didn't communicate as much as I could have. And looking back, that's something that now I try and do a better job at, is more updates along the way, or just touching base and saying, "Hey, we're almost done. Should have edits or reviews or first draft for you to look at here in a couple of days. Just wanted to check in so that you're aware." Right? I think that's a good business practice. I wasn't doing that at the time, and it bit me in the ass. So again, this situation, I don't know if that would have fixed anything or solved the issue or helped us avoid the scenario, but it is something that, reflecting on it a couple weeks later, I realized, okay, I could have done that better. I could have communicated better, even if it didn't help. So it was, you know, we had started the business, or I started the business 4.5 years ago, brought on Kaylee pretty much 2 years ago to this month in July. This happened early 2023. So it'd been, 6 months since Kaylee and I had joined forces and opened up an actual physical location that we were paying rent on. So, now we were putting out more money, had more expenses, and then we got slapped with this huge refund that we had to issue a client. It was stressful. It was not great. You know, to give you some background, that's something in that scenario when we didn't have extra money, tons of extra money in the bank account. I took a pay cut. I didn't pay myself because we had to cover this refund. And, there's times that I have to do that. It's not great, but at the end of the day, you have to make things work for the business. So you make some small sacrifices like that. And I ended up having to do that for this one. And, you know, a year and a half later, still here, still running the business just fine. I think, didn't get any negative reviews, negative feedback. Well, besides he didn't like the website, but once we, issued the refund, he even, I think, sent a note about he appreciates the refund, blah, blah, blah. Me being cynical, I didn't want to like really accept it. I was just like, whatever. you're dead to me. Not really, but um, I was just like, brush it off, whatever. It's in the past. I'm just ready to move on and forget about this and take the lessons that I learned. So, as a small business owner, it's things like that that you kind of pick up on, and sometimes you have to learn the hard way, like I did. You know, it wasn't great issuing that refund, and I took it and I learned from it, and I think the business runs much better now from it because we issue contracts for every small bit of work now, even if it's just a logo or um, obviously with websites and social media and everything like that. Contract, contract, contract. Don't necessarily mean that your business has to do a contract. It's based on what your industry is, what you do for your clients, but just make sure you really protect yourself. That's key, right? Don't want to get in a situation like I was. And so protect yourself, however that applies to your business. Look, running a business is hard. Not everything is always peachy like the viral TikTok videos claim. And, there, as a small business owner, there's always things like this that pop up and you kind of just have to run with it. It's hard. If it was easy, everybody could do it, right? So hopefully you took something away from this episode. um, Learn from my mistakes so that it doesn't happen to you. That is my goal. That is my hope. Just sharing my lessons and everything that I've gone through as a small business owner who had no business background, kind of just building my business as I go. My hope is that you can take away something from every one of these videos that I upload. So if you want to get more, I publish every Wednesday, every Sunday. Hit subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos.